Hi, I'm Clay Allison from Wicked Edge, and we're up here in the Santa Fe National Forest at about 11,000 feet, and I'm on my ongoing quest of getting the perfect edge on this knife, which I plan on taking on a 100-mile section of the Continental Divide trip. So I've had it back at the shop. I've had it in the field a couple times, back at the shop, and I've been tinkering around with the exact finish that I want. And I've got something now that is incredibly sharp, and I'm hoping is going to be durable and also suited to all the cutting tasks that I'm going to do. So I've got some microscopic pictures I took before I set out, which we'll add into the video later, which will show us a before, and then when we get back from the field, we'll see kind of what damage we've created on the edge and if we feel like the edge is held up. I've also done a cool thing and put the knife in our sharpness testing machine before setting out, and when we get back, I'll do it again and we'll see how much edge retention we've kept. So, without further ado, just kind of talk about some of the tasks, that we might be doing in our 100-mile trip, to make fires and stuff. We'll probably be doing a lot of carving, trying to make shelter, just creating a lot of wood shavings. So we're going to want a very sharp knife, and these wood shavings are great. All this aspen wood up here burns really well, but it rained last night, so everything's a little wet. So we want to get down into the heart of the wood to get to this dry stuff. So that'll be most likely a reality on our trip as well. So I just cut a lot of little shavings like this. And this little pile of shavings here will go a long ways towards helping me get a fire going. And that's pretty rough on a knife. All that shaving and carving. So we'll do a little bit more here just to see how we can test this edge. Right now I'm very pleased with how well the knife is cutting through this stuff. On this particular trip coming up, we're not going to be creating shelter. We're going to be carrying our own. But in other wilderness trips, another task that we might be doing is, really working wood to try and create a good lean-to or shelter of some sort. And that's going to be rough on the knife too. So if you're preparing for the wilderness, you want to kind of consider what the tasks of the knife are going to be, and is the knife edge that you've created going to be suitable to those tasks. So here we are, just a little more shaving. It's still going nice and deep in there. I'm probably cutting bigger pieces than I need. Alright, so we'll do a quick test to see if the edge is held up. It was extremely sharp when I started. Is it still shaving? And yes, it is still shaving very easily. So even with all that wood carving, no problem. It hasn't dulled the edge. So another task, especially when the wood's wet, you want to get down into the dry center. You're going to be splitting wood and batoning, and that's pretty hard on a knife also. So here I've got those batons, best thing I could find around here close. And that's getting me right down into the heartwood, but it puts a lot of pressure on the edge. So we're going to see what kind of damage this batoning is doing to the wood when I get back. Now we've got the beginnings of the makings of a nice little fire here, just bashing through this stuff. Let's see if I can get through this big piece of wood here. And if not, we'll do a little chopping. So that's terrific. We got right into the dry stuff here. And that's, that's a lifesaver, being able to get through to the dry wood. So you want a knife to really do the jobs that are required to keep you safe and warm and dry out in the backcountry. And if we were out there for an extended period, you can imagine looking at all this wood, that we'd have a lot of heavy work to do on the knife. So again, we want to tune the edge so it's just right, and that's what the whole purpose of this video is. We're going to test again. Okay, still really easily shaving. Tons of hair coming off without an effort. So far the knife is holding up great to all this stuff. Let's try some of the other ways in which you might baton wood, which is a little harder on the knife. And where's that piece? And that's chopping into wood like this. creating notches for different things, like maybe we're going to make a shelter. Now I'm going partly against the grain, so this should be a lot harder on the edge. Okay, we'll do one little last test here. Still shaving sharp really well. I'm super impressed with this knife and with the edge we've got on it. Alright, well that's good for now. I don't want to take too much time on this video, but take a moment to look around and acknowledge this gorgeous place we're in. And the next little chapter of this will be back in the shop, looking at the edge under the microscope and putting the knife back in the sharpness tester to see, how much damage we have or have not done. Alright, well thanks for watching. Okay, so phase 2 of the video, and we are looking at photos of the edge under the microscope at 500 times magnification. And there are a couple little tiny microchips, but they are really minimal. So overall this knife edge has held up great. I also put it back in the sharpness testing machine. And it went from a score of an average of 219 grams of force required to rupture the membrane to a range, depending on where on the blade I was measuring, from 229 to 280. So there was some loss in edge retention, but overall the knife held up tremendously well, and it's actually still shaving quite easily, quite nicely there for me. So after all that abuse, I'd say the knife edge has held up really well. We're going to try a couple more days of it with this type of edge, and we'll just keep abusing it and testing it and see how it holds up, to see if that's going to be the final edge we'll go with for the journey. Alright, thanks for watching.